This was a jungle. When I grew up, it was a jungle. There was nothing but big oak trees. When I look out now, it looks like a disaster. These animals came out in 1958 like an invasion. All the grass that the muskrats used to eat, they cleaned it like a baseball field. Now it's all water. Look at the roots, they don't go deep at all. Anytime the water hits it, it just washes it away. The nutrients took over, so it's gonna destroy the land. So we gotta keep fighting them. There's no signs of vegetation coming up there. The kind of vegetation that this soil needs to hold it together. This thing that comes from South America, they brought here to breed it with a muskrat. And it was like trying to breed a German Shepherd and a Chihuahua. You gotta do this, because if he stays alive, he could eat you up with them teeth he's got. Like these leaves here. See, like this leaf here? The mama cuts these mangroves down and feed them this green vegetation, the little ones. And they're nursing. The breasts on the nutria is on their back, not on their belly. She'll swim around and all the little nutrias are on her back. They breathe so much. Every 3 months, she's having a litter. There's no natural predator. The only thing we got now that eats a little bit of them is the alligators, and he can't eat enough of them. Hurricane Katrina didn't get rid of them. Hurricane Katrina took my house, but we still had plenty of nutrients. There's still millions around, and they're gonna have more. And that's why they got a bounty, $5 for this tail.
I want to tell y'all a tale that's crazier than hell. A story of how a bunch of folks out here on the edge of the world had to take a stand. Back in the 1930s, during that Great Depression, people were hurting. And pretty much everyone had gone a little crazy, thinking of ways of making groceries. And a few folks, including that guy, E.A. McEhenny, whose daddy invented Tabasco sauce, decided to do everyone a favor and started breeding these exotic 20-pound rodents that had been brought all the way from Argentina up here to Louisiana. Y'all heard me right. 20 pounds. These things were huge. Nutria is what they called them. And they had webbed feet and big orange teeth. The idea was you could raise them on fur farms, make buku bucks, turning them into hats and jackets, and get people down the bayou back to work. Well, as things go down here, a storm hit, and these nutrias escaped into the bayou. Either that or some goddamn fur farmer just let them loose. Either way, once they were out, they were out. And they took a hell of a liking to the swamps. Now, at first, no one was complaining too much, because nutria was good business for everyone up and down the bayou. And folks ended up exporting the furs all over the world. Those fellas were right. Nutria fur was a hit. Even movie stars like Sophia Loren was wearing it. But in the 80s, the bottom fell out of the fur market because somehow nobody wanted to wear fur anymore. All of a sudden, folks couldn't make nothing selling nutria pelts, and everyone pretty much gave up on trying to hunt them. But the problem was that those trappers were the only thing keeping the nutria under control. And boy, those things could eat pounds and pounds of vegetation a day. So as their numbers grew, the more they ate up the swamp. What was once beautiful green turned to mud, where nothing could grow no more. Louisiana went from having 5 million to 10 million to 20 and more, until the whole coastline was filled with nutria. So that's why everyone out here on the bayou has to take a stand against an invasion like you never have seen of big old swamp rats.
Start shooting as soon as we get here, and we shoot till we run out of shells. You can make a living off of it if you hustle.
The only controlling factor historically nutria had in South Louisiana was man. It was a trapper that was out there trapping nutria. When trapping was drastically reduced, populations exploded, and eventually that's the reason why the department started the nutria control program. You're able to go out and harvest nutria with no limit for a $5 incentive for every nutria tail you turn in.
You're out there to help the land, but I mean, every nutria you put down, that's $5 in your pocket. And that's the way I look at it.
By putting an economic incentive on the tail versus the pelt, was trying to emulate a good fur market.
We usually average anywhere from 150 to 200 a day. Last year, we got as high as 1,200 in one day. I like to go try to find tall grass and run the airboat back and forth through it, you know, to flush the nutrients out for the hunters to shoot. If I see more than 3 or 4 nutrients in a spot, then I'm gonna go try to flush it.
Historically, when trappers brought in fur-bearing animals, they bring the whole animal into the fur dealer, and he would process the whole animal. Well, in the nutria control program, the only thing they're collecting is a tail, which shows that that individual has taken that nutria, so he can be paid that $5.
Just cut it way back here. They asked us to quit, just keep 6 inches of it, because it's easier on them to dispose of them and everything.
This is one without no tail. You just make sure you cut where they got hair on the back of it so they'll buy.
People realize that what they're doing is benefiting the environment, but the bottom line is the money that's paid in the incentive program. What'd you do this week? Because the incentive payment emulates what historically they were making when their fur was worth money.
All right, I see one. See if we can get him. Got him. I love it. I love it when I nail him. Like a champ. Ah? You ain't gonna eat no more grass now. Before they started the nutria control program, people didn't care about killing them too much because it cost gas in your boat, cost your time, cost your bullets in your gun, and you wasn't making nothing doing it, you know what I'm saying? Now you was helping out your coast, but you wasn't getting paid for it. When they put a bounty on it, Now, everybody's out there really hunting them hard. Cajun women, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. I'll kick a man's ass, and I can do everything that they can do, you know? And I'm gonna do it better just to show them, I promise you. All my family is from over here. But if the land's gone, then me and my family don't have a future. So if I help wipe out the neutrals, then that's better for me and better for generations coming down.
This is pretty much one of the best college jobs you could ever do, is coming out here and seeing hundreds of these, which is like looking at dollar signs on the land. And each one I kill is pretty much getting me closer and closer to my degree to pay for school.
Good morning. How you doing, man? You sick? I don't think I've missed a turn-in since I've been on the program. I mean, it's not a necessity, but I still enjoy it, you know?
That's 90, Brian.
That sounds close enough to me, you know?
Not bad for the first week, Charles.
The nutria control program is so popular and it's so effective, and the one thing is it offers these guys money when there is none. This is the time of the year there are no crabs. They're not able to shrimp. This is their income for the year. That's why they're so motivated to go out there and get as many as they can.
Yeah, but you're gonna wear out my legs. I'm gonna have to be able to dance Saturday night. Yeah, I got about 80 this week. You know, with this bounty helped me feed my family and helps pay the bills, you know. Yeah, that's $10. That's $15. That's $20. That's $25. That's $30. It's the more you get, the more money you make. But if there ain't no bounty, I will not kill it. Because that's the way I was brought up. Never kill something unless you make something with it. This little one is $5 because he eats vegetation too. So you see him, we kill him. Something was digging here that looked like a nutria. They got one around here. That's it right there, a nutria turd. It's nothing but grass. It's dried up though. Been a while, he ain't been here. But they had one here. Just talk to these animals and they'll understand your language. He could be behind the grass eating. And I'll call him, he'll come out, he stick his nose out. Y'all ever heard him holler? Huh? You ever heard a nutria holler? Wah! Wah! That's how I hunt them. Yeah, we're heading on the end of the line. There ain't many people from here left, because they didn't want to get flooded no more. But I'm hard-headed, I'm a die-hard, so I'm still here. That's the last hurricane, my freezer's right there on a levee there, under the trees. Isaac put it there. This is where I was born. I grew up right there on that property. Huh? My mom and my daddy's house was like a trailer. It was 16 foot wide, 4 rooms. I slept where they laid bodies out in that house. 28 bodies were laid out in that house. You know, so I grew up with life and death. I've been evacuating out of this island since before I was a year old. So I've done everything there is for survival. I'm born to die, so I'm gonna get all the gusto out of this little body that I got. When I go, this world don't owe me nothing. Nutrients is a real threat to the whole country. And they'll wipe away the land because once they start destroying everything, there's no roots and nothing, it washes away when it rains.
Louisiana's coastal wetlands are very fragile. It's the highest rate of erosion in the contiguous United States. It also provides protection from storm surge and hurricane surge. You have to realize that every mile of coastal wetlands reduces the tidal surge of about a foot. There's a lot of issues causing wetlands to deteriorate and vanish. We have subsidence of land because the Mississippi River is leveed up. We had an excessive amount of dredging that occurred back in the 50s and early oil and gas exploration. Nutria is one cause that exacerbates the environmental processes that take place. A lot of these areas that are impacted by nutria and eventually convert to open water, they become lost, and they are lost forever. A lot of the coastal communities being required to move further north and further inland. So the more wetlands that you lose makes a bunch of the interior towns and cities a lot more vulnerable to hurricanes.
Would everybody open their missalettes to the front cover and recite with me the prayer for hurricane season. O God, master of this passing world, hear the humble voices of your children. The Sea of Galilee obeyed your order and returned to its former quietude. You are still the master of land and sea. We live in the shadow of a danger over which we have no control. The Gulf, like a provoked and angry giant, can awake from its seeming lethargy, overstep its conventional boundaries, invade our land, and spread chaos and disaster. During this hurricane season, we turn to you, O loving Father. Spare us from past tragedies whose wounds seem to refuse to heal with the passing of time. We will walk in the footsteps of your divine Son to reach the heavenly Jerusalem where a stormless eternity awaits us. Amen.
It was a blessing growing up close to the water, and the smell of the river and the lake combining together is just awesome. I grew up right here in the lower Ninth Ward, right next to this levee, right up the street here. And as a kid, we would jump the levee wall and go crabbing. We had no idea what those walls were for. We always had hurricanes here. With the coastal erosion, the effect of the hurricanes are getting stronger. And the nutria is eating up the coastline and the canals, so we don't know what's going on underneath, because those little creatures get everywhere, man. It's just a perfect habitat for them to grow and multiply. They're causing a hazard for protection of New Orleans. We're coming up real close to where my family home was before the hurricane. Lots of big memories on Jordan Avenue. Got a little bump here. Potholes in New Orleans. It's probably the nutria. And right here, this empty lot was my family home right in front of that pole. The whole family would have drowned in here. Definitely would have drowned right here.
Is that having defective canals is not a good thing for human habitation. I'm hired by the city to come out here and remove the nutria from the canals before they create too much destruction. They dig these burrows, and the burrows are very extensive. And when they're close enough together, they hear each other digging, they decide to connect the burrows. So you get this subterranean labyrinth, and it just starts to cave the canals in. So in this 2-mile stretch of urban canal, there's probably at least 300 nutria. So I know that I can work these canal banks forever. Nutria have always been in my life, you know, since I was real young. Growing up, my mom and dad worked really, really hard. You know, there were 4 boys, and so, you know, there wasn't a lot of money to go around. And if I wanted to buy something, I got out there and hustled and caught a bunch of nutria and sold them for $1.50 a piece until I had enough money to buy whatever I was after. When they moved out of the swamps and into these urban environments, they become very rat-like. They're constantly looking for food and mating. They've become accustomed to people. And so they're just not intimidated by the human presence anymore. It's a big old rat. I get a lot of calls to pull nutria out of toilets because a lot of these drainage pipes that you see in these canals, they lead to a sewer, and the sewer leads to a toilet. And so that means that there's going to be more human versus nutrient conflict. I saw a lady earlier dump a bunch of fish carcasses off the bridge, and the nutria will be eating those tonight. And that's especially bad because those things dig out the foundation of the bridge, and when a truck of any size comes over it, it crushes the foundation. And I try to devise a win-win situation, but nutria, being an invasive species, you can't have win-win. The invasive species has to be deleted.
The bayou life, your food is right in the front of your house. We live off the land. We Native Americans, part of the Houma tribe. Growing up as a kid, we used to get out of school in 3 months and go out trapping. My dad, my uncle, my grandpa, and then I started it. I can't see myself just killing a neutral just for his tail and throwing the hide away. They got good pelts and make a good coat. People use it in the past. Why not use it again? $5 for the tail and $1 for the hide. That's $6 a neutral.
So what it looks like, Bim, more neutrals this year?
Been more cold weather this year, so that helps out a lot.
Colder weather.
Oh,
you know, it's going to be better to sell the furs, you know.
I'll tell you what, that's more money in my pocket. Right. You know, the more we catch, the better it is.
My daddy used to buy from Bimbo's daddy. And now Bimbo's daddy's gone. My daddy's gone. And fur dealers in the state of Louisiana just fading away, you know. You just got a handful left. In the olden days, these nutria, it was valued at a lot of money because they used to go out trapping for like 4 or 5 months at a time. And the fur buyer would go out there and he would bring coffee and bring them salt meat, potatoes, and then he would trade them food, and then they would sell the furs. Yeah, now we got us a big one here. It's gonna be a good quality. So this one is gonna make a beautiful coat or hat. You know, very nice. A coat is very nice. My father used to go out trapping. They used to do muskrat. And then one day they heard a funny noise and they didn't know what it was. And then they caught a neutral. And then they said, well, it's a furry animal. If we can make $1 on it, let's make $1. And they tried to make a market because it was cheaper than a muskrat. You needed to catch 20 muskrats where you can catch 10 neutrals and make a coat. It was all good because it brought a lot of money to the state of Louisiana. And then the muskrats disappeared. The neutrals took over and everybody thought it was something good. But they really didn't realize that the neutral was gonna put a whipping on the state of Louisiana. In the 70s, we was bringing in like 2 to 3 million. And then in the 80s, these animal activists, they came in to start giving us trouble. They started to protest, and you had to be careful whenever you ship skins. They break into the warehouse, and everybody was scared to buy furs because they would spray them with spray paint. They put a whipping on these trappers, so a lot of them went to the oil field, and the market just collapsed. Nobody was trapping them, so the neutrals just started building up, building up, building up, and they just ate up everything, and we lost so much land.
Stopping the nutria is a mission impossible. The good Lord couldn't get rid of them. They're still here. Yeah, we're trying to protect it, what our ancestors had here. You're doing the same thing I done. You're doing the same thing your grandpa did. And we gotta keep on doing because our family works hard, and it's still here.
Let's roll.
Tommy eats everything that don't bite him back.
If I mix rabbit and nutria, you don't even know which one you eat. So you might like the nutria if you really try.
I never did trust you with your cooking.
My cooking's good. Everybody else around the neighborhood eats it.
You could feed them all up there. I don't want no part of it.
I just can't get past the name Nutria Rat.
Close your eyes and you won't know you're eating a nutria rat.
Everybody down here, the ancestors was fishermen. You inherited it from me, just like me. I inherited it from my daddy. My daddy inherited it from his daddy, and it comes down the line.
Right, this is a dying breed, though. It's like going
it's
downhill.
yeah. So now, who are you going to teach to fish?
I don't have no boys, but maybe my girls will do it. They want to go to college, so I
So
think
they're not interested.
They're not interested. Yeah, that's about it.
We stay here because he doesn't want to leave, but most people that were here moved up the road because they're afraid of losing everything again when a storm comes.
We need somebody to watch the boats, and we know he's the only one to stay here, so we'll let him stay.
He don't want to move up the road. He doesn't drive, so he can't come with a car. The only thing he got is a boat. I understand about you trying to, keep your family safe. This strip of land we're on is thin, and it's getting thinner all the time.
You enjoy my cooking tonight. I'm a master chef, and I play music on the side. Tomorrow I'll be cooking nutria, and my new ballroom I just opened up at 3 o'clock. You have that nutria? Delicious. Oh, that's a nice big one right there. Good old rat for dinner. Little good luck, Joe.
Prior to the nutria control program, we had a pilot study to try and promote nutria for human consumption. We made sausage with it, we made Slim Jims, we made nutria hot tamales, we had nutria gumbo, things that people were used to eating in South Louisiana.
Cooking is improv, just like jazz. Whether I play a high note or a low note, play soft or play louder, people come gather, and we're not gonna tell them it's nutria. Say, come on, try my chicken. And we'll tell them the next day so they don't regurgitate.
Here in South Louisiana, The food business is very competitive. There's a lot of good things out there to eat.
The state has tried to have different sort of well-known celebrity chefs prepare nutria. I just try to support those efforts the best way I can because I think it's important and just to freak the staff out. And if you approach it with an open mind, you'll find it doesn't have a really bad swampy taste.
To me, they taste like a rabbit, not like chicken.
And with rabbit, the stigma is that they're too cute. That's not a problem with nutria.
Throw it on the grill, no cover. We'll leave that on there about an hour, go drink a few beers, talk a little jive. When we come back in about an hour and a half, soup.
I think a lot of the problem in the promotion of the meat was the aesthetics of the animal. People just couldn't get over eating something that looked like a large rat.
I'm not gonna eat it, but I'm thinking about trying it in my mind.
The nutria flavor is sort of like the zucchini of the animal world. You know, you can kind of make it work with a lot of different kinds of flavors.
I like nutria because it's a very clean animal. Does eat just roots. If you don't know the difference between a nutria and a steak, and when you're gonna take a bite on each one, you're gonna throw your steak out and you're gonna keep the nutria. That's how good it is.
They're vegetarians. They don't eat nothing dead, just strictly roots.
Yeah, it's clean meat.
Oh, it's very, very pretty meat.
There's really nothing wrong with it because it's so lean. Maybe it'd be a nice alternative to chicken breast.
Mighty nice. Nutria's eating the natural resources of the coastline, you know. It's definitely like tasting Louisiana. Delicious. It smells wild, too.
They've been talking about shrimp and crab and oysters going away, you know, so maybe one day when there's not much else to eat, you know, people will see the beauty of the nutria.
It's delicious. Lord, I can't stomach it.
I'm very fond of the ones that have a dark stripe down the back.
Yes.
Because it's a nice contrast. Some of them have a more of a like this has more of a contrast in the back than this one does.
What you gonna do with these spells?
Well, you know, we got to do a lot of things. I've got a sort of a whole little collective of designers, and some of our designers are going to make all-fur vests out of them. Some of them make hats, and trapper hats or modified trapper hats that are kind of a little bit more chic, not so much down the bayou, but a little more Fifth Avenue. Yeah. And we actually even have one designer who makes these fabulous leg warmers out of them. People go crazy when they see these leg warmers.
I know, it's awesome.
And then other designers, myself included. Well, traditionally the stigma of fur is people don't feel comfortable with the idea of killing animals to adorn themselves. But the thing with nutria is that they're being killed anyway, and they're throwing these beautiful furs away, and it just seemed like a colossal waste. It seemed criminal. So I like to think of righteous fur as a giant recycling project.
When I was growing up, I played with my mom's fur coat and really always wanted one. When I became of age in the 70s and 80s, it was sort of frowned upon, so there's been a break in the craft. No one was there to train us. We had to sort of figure it out on our own. Now we're ready to bring the fur trade back.
I make ties. I mean, people think those are like the coolest thing.
Oh my God, they were a Mardi Gras hit. We had people just calling us.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Wow.
It looks really good with your coloring, with your hair.
Yeah.
I think nutria originally came as the poor man's fur. It was not the high-end fur, but it took off.
Wearing it back then was more of a status thing. Husbands would give it to their wives because they wanted everyone to know they could afford to buy their wife a fur coat.
Oh, wow.
Nutria is the ultimate sustainable fur. With fake fur, which is made out of all these plastics and stuff that are certainly bad for the environment, people started looking at, well, maybe it's not fur itself that is so bad, but the way it's raised. And obviously, nutria is an invasive species. So it's actually the most sustainable fur of all.
We are selling online and in stores, but we have to get it out to the public. So we're planning a fashion show in a couple of months where we get to show these things off to people and see what their reaction is. It's kind of like testing the market.
Oh, look! Oh, yeah, that's nice. This is meant to go salsa dancing. When I'm out at market selling the jewelry, people are really excited about what we're doing. But the big challenge is finding people that want to put their money where their mouth is. There's a bit of a stigma attached because even though it's destroying the wetlands, nutria have been here long enough now that they've become part of the fabric of their lives.
I have a lot of friends over at the country club, and they're not too happy that these nutrias are destroying their golf course. I see what they do and how they do it. And they do millions and millions of dollars of damage.
It's frustrating because we do, as a staff, take so much time and effort into maintaining this piece of property, and our lake banks are starting to fall off. And you used to be able to drive a golf cart around this tree right here. There's 3 or 4 pretty good-sized nutrias. And the homeowners, you got some of them that hate them because of the damage they're doing. And you have some of them that enjoy them and try to take care of them.
This all started accidentally when there was a mother out here with about 4 or 5 little ones. I had thrown out some stuff and they liked it, you know, the little ones were eating it. So I tried getting a little closer and a little closer, and sure enough, those little babies, you know, they were crawling all over me to get the carrots.
One of the ironies of trapping on golf courses is poor people hail me as a hero because I protect them. But rich people, they hail me as a villain. And they tend to view the nutria as a cute little pet, a little golf course ornament. So they don't really want you to trap the nutria, even though they're creating tremendous damage.
Yeah, I've been accused of being soft to the little guy, you know. And, you know, the nutrias, they can't really protect themselves. The kids love to see them. And by showing them some kindness to that animal, they may begin to show kindness to maybe another person.
You know, a lot of people believe that live trapping is a little bit more humane and ethical. So using the cage traps on a golf course is definitely good PR work. It's more difficult to live trap, but whenever you have the wealthy, that can really create a lot of problems for you. You want to have that perception that you're taking care of the animals as best as possible. But the reality is, people still tamper with the traps, steal the traps, and do whatever they can to make sure that I'm not successful. Huh, they pulled the trap out. So it's a little game of cat and mouse. You know, I am an animal lover, but I walk a really fine line. The animals work with me. When I'm live trapping, I use my hunting dog, George W. Bush. He'll tell me if there's an active nutria live in the trap. It's a good-sized breeding male. 30 pounds, 4 or 5 years old. Yeah, this guy has fathered a lot of baby nutria. They start breeding about 6 months old, and they breed anything and everything that sits still. You know, out in the swamps, the nutria don't have any admirers. But you get into a city environment with a high population like this, you're gonna have a group of people that like them. But nutria are an invasive species. They push out the native species. So the nutria need to be discreetly removed just to stop the destruction.
When it gets too cold and the crab don't bite, I do it neutral. But as soon as the water got to 75 degrees, the crab started coming out from under the mud. And now we're starting to catch them. This time of the year right now, we're fishing crabs. Next month, I'll be doing alligators. I'm always doing something. I will never stop. That's how we make our money, with cycles from one to the next. You know, and that's the way it's been all my life. When I was 13 years old, I quit school to be a fisherman. My education is the sea. My grandfather, my father before me, and I've been following their footsteps. It's like my son, he's following mine. Even the discipline of my land, my son's gonna keep on fishing. So we enjoy that kind of life. We don't worry about nobody else. We do what we gotta do for ourselves, and that's it. You know, the next man, he gotta do the same thing for himself. Because we're still here, but we don't know what Mother Nature might bring and wipe it all out. Delacroix was a tight community, and that's the way we grew up. The family used to stick together on one piece of land. It was beautiful. Everybody took care of everybody. We had everything here at one time. Before the hurricane, Katrina came with a big tidal surge and wiped this place off the map. Wiped everything in San Bernard off the map, just about.
Everybody thinks, oh, a fisherman's life. They make plenty of money, but they don't realize what goes with it. You make your living off the water, because that's your
living. It's a great life.
But it's also the enemy, too. It just seems like yesterday that we had all of this.
I had a 5-bedroom house. Let's go.
It's been a few years, but it seems like yesterday at times. You'll see something or hear something, and it's like it's still here. So it's a mixed bag of emotions that you deal with every day. Are we going to still be here? Or going to be gone for the next storm?
Yep.
We survive, but it's not easy.
When the Cajuns first got here, they must have looked around here and said, Lord have mercy, look what we got to work with over here. Swamp. A little bit land, a little bit more swamp. They did it. They did what they had to do to get the water off and get us a little hard ground, not all marsh. Cajuns, we're a special breed of people. Most of us are very independent. We do our own thing. We work hard. We like to party. And we can damn sure cook. Everybody can cook. What's up, bro? Get me some shit! And we have to try to protect the heritage of South Louisiana. I mean, we're gonna survive, no matter what.
We serve a fun-loving God. He loves to see his people have fun in a good, wholesome way. Because we know that's going to be tough times. In our tradition, we enjoy partying because some things that have impacted our community is beyond our control. Coastal erosion, oil spills, hurricanes, causing our life to be decimated in a way that we may never recover. Almighty God bless y'all, Father, Son, woo-hoo! And so when God blesses you, it's gonna be a party. Enjoy it.
Get on the dance floor with the right song and act crazy. Drink my Bud Lights, and me and my boss do some dancing. And then I dance with some young hot tamales at the same time. 39-year-old girl? I'm gonna have to teach you how to dance. Dancing when you hold somebody in your arms and wiggle. You know, that's dancing, you know? The vibration. One woman told my wife one night, how you let him do all that? She said, it's all about enjoying life. That's what this is all about. And the young people don't know what enjoyment of life is today. So that's what I'm living for.
The Louisiana Swamp exhibit set out to exhibit those animals which people actually see, or they eat in our restaurants, or they encounter on our roadways. So nutria, or Myocastor coipu, we felt would be essential. While being introduced, it's been here a long time, and people are very familiar with it. Nutria have been here long enough now to have become part of the Cajun culture. We name sports teams after them.
Even though the nutria are here in Louisiana and they're destroying our coastline, we have accepted the fact that they're not going anywhere, so why not embrace them?
People in South Louisiana often find young nutria and keep them as pets. And they do very well, sometimes for years.
Little Bit has no idea she's a nutria. She's more in lines of thinking she's a dog. As far as anything a normal nutria would do or know, she doesn't know what that is. I wouldn't say nutria make a good pet. They require a lot of maintenance, and they don't socialize with people they don't know. she's bonded to me. Anyone else, she gets aggressive towards them.
So I've sustained a number of serious lacerations and injuries and gotten multiple stitches handling nutria. They can be very, very aggressive. As a matter of fact, more people are run out of these marshes by nutria defending territory than almost any other animal here.
I still hunt and trap nutria for a part of my income. The family, they think it's funny because I kill thousands of nutrias every year, and yet I have one as a pet.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, tell us when.
Go. Each skinner has their own different kind of technique. When to push, when to pull, where to cut. A lot of hand-eye coordination.
I've been state champion, I guess, maybe 10 times. But it got to where people could skin a nutria in about 25 seconds.
One of the great things about this pageant is that you get a nice little fur coat to go with the beautiful crown. Nutria fur is one of those surprising ones. You don't expect it to come off as elegant as it actually does when you see it on someone.
And you would never expect a rat to be elegant, yet here we are, and half of us wear it every single day.
Nutria have been here long enough at this point that it's cropping up everywhere. And nutria is really starting to be seen and make a bit of a splash on the runways. People love to come to fashion shows. I mean, they like to see sexy models. That was one of my favorite reviews of our very first show. This makes environmental issues sexy. And I thought, man, we're doing our job. The younger generation, they are definitely like pro-sustainable fur, so that attracts them. But they're also attracted to the fact that I'm wearing a swamp rat, dude, and I look badass.
Some people are turned off by nutria because in their minds it's a rat. But this is exactly what attracts our biggest market because they like that edginess and it has that wild look to it.
There's some interest in the fashion industry, even in New York and other areas, to use nutria because it has been called environmentally kosher fur, to where if somebody buys a coat, they're actually protecting coastal wetlands. And I think some of that effort is actually working. In the late 70s, there was estimates that there was 25 million nutria. Right now, after the Nutria Control Program and other efforts, that population we estimate presently as being several million. The nutria problem is not only in Louisiana. It's found on the East Coast, a large portion of the southeastern part of the United States, portions of the West Coast. It's also a problem worldwide. It can be found in the coastal marshes of France. There's a problem with nutria in South Korea, Vietnam, on the river deltas. So there's many other countries that experience problems with nutria, and they do look to Louisiana for pointers on how to better control that animal. We don't feel that we're going to get every last one. But if we can reduce the populations, we will be a lot better off. So the war is not over.
I'm fine being the last one in my family doing this.
because it's getting harder and harder to make a living at it. You brought up doing one thing all your life. You ain't looking to do something else. But even if my daughters wanted to do this, I wouldn't encourage it. I would encourage them to go to college and get an education. I like to raise my kids not down here because I was tired of dealing with all the flooding with my parents. So I said I'm not going to live down here and deal with the same things they deal with. I don't want to lose everything every time we get a hurricane. So I decided to leave and move my family 12 miles north. They built a levee for us up here, but it doesn't guarantee our safety. There may come a day that I have to leave here too. I don't want to stay in Louisiana, but you never know.
Tommy got his own kids, and they didn't want to deal with what I go through, you know. He does what he wants. That's his life. So I'm the last Gonzalez on the island. Delacroix Island was gonna disappear, just a matter of time. We're gonna have to leave here one day. I ain't gonna be able to build nothing here no more because they ain't gonna have nothing left here. I got that trailer 17 feet up in the air. I figure another hurricane, that ain't gonna be there. I ain't building no more. That'll be my third one that I lose here. But I'm gonna come back with an RV. I'm not attached to physical things. I'm only attached to this place where my roots is at. We got something in common, me and the nutria. He's a survivor like me. You know, he wants to survive. But, like everything, one day or another's got to go. Here's my buddy. We got it in common. Mother Nature tried to get rid of us, but couldn't do it. We still here. We ain't leaving. They say they ain't leaving, and I ain't leaving. So, we're gonna live here till we go. Me and my buddy. Because he supported my family. I tell you what, he paid my bills and supported my 3 kids. Can't deny him. He was a good friend. Me and my wife gonna keep on dancing and have a good life. I lose my house, and it'd be me and the nutrias and my wife, that'd be okay. As long as we're still alive and we can enjoy the little bit life we have left.